Hey everybody, welcome back to another race breakdown. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by the inimitable Gordon Mack. We're here to look in depth at the 2019 Nuttycombe Invitational, the women's race. We already broke down the men's race. You can check that out. Or if you want just the regular race and not us with this telestration tool, you can watch that as well. But I think people are going to like this breakdown, Gordon.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. We got to see the #1 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks go up against some top talent like Stanford, NC State, Wisconsin. And we saw an interesting individual battle brew later on in the race. But we'll break it down into this, see how they fare, kind of give those behind-the-scenes details that no one really caught first time watching it live.
Yeah, sometimes there's stuff that you pull out on the second viewing, or you dig deeper into the results and you say, oh, they finished that spot, or that was their 2K split. It's always fun to go back and rewatch it. You mentioned the individual battle. Top 3 women in the nation. I think even after this weekend, still probably the top 3 women in the nation, although some are working their way.
Erica Burke might say something to that matter. Right. Or Whitney Orton, who didn't even run.
Yeah.
But you can see right away, there it is, Edna Kurgat and Wayne Kaladi in that teal and red kit going out early.
Yeah, the turquoise for New Mexico. I was interested in her strategy here because we talked about it a lot at the national championship last year. Snow slowed things down a little bit. Danny Jones hung around. Danny Jones kicked, as Danny Jones can do. I thought Kaladi would push more from the front in this race. I was a bit surprised, but then you were there. The wind was a factor, correct?
Yes, wind was a big factor. We talk about a lot of coaches strategically told their athletes when to make moves, when to hold back based on the wind. And also, you know, a lot of times how much are you valuing a win at an invitational versus a win at a national meet? Mm-hmm. And that's something that Wayne Kaladi and Taylor Warner and Alicia Monson have to think about is how much of the well do I need to go to for invitational titles?
Mm-hmm. And for Kaladi, she had beaten Monson already 2 weeks before by double digits at Notre Dame. So she had a win over her. You see Fiona O'Keefe in there in second behind Edna Kurgat.
An interesting thing about the start of this race is all of the big names go right to the front. Yeah. You didn't see any like out of my element runners going to that top 5. Everyone that's in that top 5 is a name. Like they're not. There's no one who's like, who are you? You got O'Keefe, Kurgat, Kaladi, Warner, Anna Rohrer. Like those are all names we know, and they are in the top 5 right away.
Well, the men played it much more conservatively. The women went for it because the top names went out there. And that's why I was interested in this question of strategy, because obviously they didn't jog. She didn't jog, but went slow enough to keep the pack together. Now, I mean, Monson, as she told you after the race in the interview, just is on another level this year in terms of confidence. She feels like she can push from farther out. So it's hard to drop Alicia Monson. If you run a full 6,000, it's still hard to drop Alicia Monson. But
yeah, it makes you think about the same way Danny Jones defeated Kaladi. Kaladi will make an early move. Jones will slowly cover it and then kick at the end.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of happened in this race later on when we'll see it's kind of very similar to the way Kaladi got second in NCAAs.
Yeah, well, it's Nuttycombe last year, right? She pushed midway, had a lead, and it was that last 400 where Monson came back on her. Obviously, very, very strong running at home. So they're going down this hill after the 1 kilometer mark. And Rohrer there on the outside. And you can always guarantee Rohrer is going to be in the front of the pack. Yes. When she's running a race, she's in the white top over there. And on the team side of things, didn't take long for Arkansas to assert themselves either. We'll see if we can get a shot here of the pack. They're so tight together, tough to sort out, but if we freeze it right there, yeah. Ding, ding. At least 3 right there, and I think we have another one in there as well. So Arkansas really well positioned. We can keep it moving there with Taylor Warner, Katie Izzo, Devin Clark, and Karina Villone, and then Lauren Gregory not too far back, who looks like she's coming around, and if she comes around, it's lights out.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas is really going to make or break it based on Lauren Gregory's health. There was a chance she was going to redshirt this season, but then once they realized Katrina Robinson probably isn't going to be able to come back from her injury, they need that 5th body, and Gregory, you know, if she can be a B- of herself, maybe that's enough for them to be a strong 5th woman and win a title.
I mean, their top 4 right now is so good.
Yes, 4 in the top 25.
That seems pretty good. that seems like a pretty good formula for success. We all know the stats now with Arkansas. Haven't podiumed for the women in 20 years. If they win this one, they'd get their first women's cross-country title in program history, and they'd hold all the women's titles. Remember, they have indoor and outdoor track right now as well.
And I think about that because I was in Fayetteville. We filmed the workout Wednesday with the Arkansas women and men. And there's a lot of Triple Crown references all over the stadium. And they have the list of years they've won the Triple Crown, and which is XC, indoor, outdoor. And I'm thinking, will they count this as a Triple Crown? Is the 2019 sweep a Triple Crown, or is it not count because it's not the academic season?
It's a calendar crown.
Calendar crown. Again, new category of calendar crowns.
I think I mean, it's so funny to think, though. Think of how many men's titles they've won indoor, outdoor, and cross. And think of how many women's titles they've won indoor and outdoor. I mean, the trophy case, well, you've seen it now.
I've seen it. There's a lot.
Yeah, they needed to renovate it and add space. But yeah, they haven't yet got that women's title, and they're trying to get it this year for the first time. So we're about to go through, in about a minute, we're going to go through 2 kilometers. Get a look at the map there. And it's going to be close between Stanford and Arkansas through 2K, and then there's going to be a gap back to third place. But yeah, so many women are packed in real tight here.
Yeah, and
on
here
the swim side of things.
you kind of get a sense of the diameter of the course. It's kind of like a B-shaped course. You can see right now they're in that backwoods area of the course.
Fumble.
Yeah, where's the card? Oh, there we go. They're right here in the woods. Cart cam lost his signal there in the heavy wooded area, but we'll get them back as soon as they come around, and they'll be coming up on their 2K split. They go through 2K in sub 640. They are about to come right out of the wood area. But yeah, like all cross-country races, not much happens in the beginning.
All right. Can't win it. You can only seem to lose it. But there, yeah. So you see Roar up front there, Fiona O'Keefe.
You can see, pause it right there. Here are the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 Arkansas women.
Yeah. That's good. It's good positioning early on. I mean, it's not complicated when you're that good. You can come up with a way to win it. So at 2 kilometers, Stanford, though, actually, again, was ahead by 1 point. They had 2, 10, 13, 26, and 34. Arkansas had 4 in the top 19. But what happened was Arkansas just then kept moving up, and then the gaps everywhere else just grew. You see those splits there on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, looking at the top 8, you see the only non-big name in that top group was Alexandria Hayes, the Columbia product. But other than that, it was, Alicia Monson, Herstein, Izzo, all the top girls, Taylor Warner, Clark.
Yeah, and look at that flag there. Go back real quick. Can roll back. Yeah, I mean, just look how much the wind is ripping there. Move it ahead here. We'll see. The wind was blowing, and last year didn't worry too much about the wind. Again, it was more about the cold. And now it's 2 New Mexico Lobos at the front, taking on the brunt of it. Because I think at this point, Kaladi realizes, okay, we got to thin this out. Like, my style is not sit and kick. I need to get this going. See Susan Ajori there of Oregon on the outside behind Bailey Hertenstein of Indiana, but Arkansas is sitting pretty there. And at some point, Karina Villon loses her shoe from Arkansas. So we need to figure out when it is that she loses her shoe.
And looking at those team scores at 2K mark, the big surprise was seeing NAU women in third. They were in third at 2K. They're looking to make the meet for the first time since like 2007. And for everyone talks about the men, but the women, an up-and-coming program, put themselves in the thick of it with all the top Boise's and Furmans, New Mexico's of this world.
Well, and then at the 4K mark, they slide down to 5th, but still good position, and then eventually, by the finish, they're 6th. But yeah, I mean, a good start for them, and they held on. There was definitely a big gap between the top 2 teams, Arkansas, Stanford, and everybody else.
These basically it's a virtual tie between these entire top 9.
Yeah.
They're all in the 200s, high 200s, 250 to 280. And then clearly the cutoff was here. You see 85 to 86. Yeah. That was the cutoff.
And you see, 2 NAU women, actually a bunch of NAU women right there.
You see Taryn O'Neill, the Villanova transfer.
Yeah, and then just behind, there's more NAU there. Maybe a hint at the future there.
We'll see.
A lot of yellow up front, but today was all about Arkansas and Alicia Monson establishing themselves as title favorites. Yeah, although you can't be too much in the moment because you got to remember, 2 weeks before this, Kaladi beat Monson by 12, 13 seconds, so there's still a chance. But this just seemed like at this point you're like, they've already run for almost 10 minutes and Kaladi doesn't have separation. I think she wants a longer race. I think she wants a tougher race from the gun.
Yeah, I think Kaladi would love it. They made the women run a 10K.
Yes, I think she would be. She'd be first in line. I mean, Terre Haute, a little more difficult, a little more challenging. Perhaps that helps her a little bit for next year. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, Monson, how many times did she run that pre-nats course? I guess last year was Great Lakes Regional in Terre Haute.
So only like once or twice
yeah,
maybe.
And that wasn't like a full effort. So she got a lot of experience on this course, maybe not so much in Terre Haute. Something to keep an eye on. So there you see Arkansas with 1, 2, 3 right there in the red.
And Stanford, though, is also holding their own with 1, 2, 3 in the black.
Ellie Hines of NC State there on the back of that pack.
And this is the moment when Kaladi makes a move, and it visually you see it because of Kurgat falling back.
Yeah.
You normally, in years past, the past 2 years, it was a 1-2 punch with Kaladi and Kurgat. And not sure what Kurgat's dealing with here, but this fifth-year senior, really they're struggling to keep up with the pace that Kaladi set. And falls all the way eventually back to 18th.
Yeah, and you're right. That's a good way to visually see it. Of just like, yes, Kaladi accelerated. Yeah, Kurgat fell back a little bit, but people are trying to now desperately respond to that Wayne Kaladi move, and that's tough. And this seems to be a spot that she likes on this course to really push. But again, at this point, I mean, there's 11.5 minutes on the clock. There's not much. There's less than 10 minutes left. I mean, 8 minutes left of running. Like, you got to go at this point and commit.
Yeah, it's such a different tactics for a women's race. 6K is not that much time. When men running an 10K, 8K, 10K, you feel like there's a lot more time of just waiting. But here, like before you know it, you're like, hey, I'm a mile away from the end.
Yeah, and here's where you knew Monson was game, right? She moves past this little pack. She gets by Anna Rohr, and now it's okay. I can latch on to Kaladi, and I still have a fair bit of distance. It's not like this is the final 400. You see Arkansas. So here's the difference for Arkansas right here. Freeze it. Actually, go back.
That's their fourth.
Yeah. Go again.
That's their third.
Yeah, so this is their third right here. And this would be some of the Stanford.
That's their second and third.
Right, but then the difference here is we go forward here with Villion, and we freeze it. Does she only have one shoe at this point? It's hard to tell. If this was CSI, I'd be like, enhance. Keep going here.
Keep going. I see shoes. Maybe it's a sock. I don't know. We'll keep going. We'll see if we see it near the end.
Yeah. So, but that's Arkansas's fourth right there, and Stanford had a ways to wait until their fourth runner came through, and I believe that's at 5 right there with Lauren Gregory. So in a good position there for Arkansas.
And it really looks like they're moving. Kaladi is definitely trying to hammer this pace. And you see Rohr now starting to fall off of it. Warner and O'Keefe are still able to cover a bit, but Monson looks very calm covering this gap that she created.
She didn't try to do it all at once.
Yeah.
Bit off a little bit at a time. And Warner looks pretty good too. Warner looks collected, and I think she's confident based on how she's run the track season. This isn't a surprise for her to be able to compete with these women. Yes, she was a little bit off of Monson by the finish line, but she's only 3 seconds back of Kaladi. I think she takes some solace in that. So we are at 13 on the clock. So we're right about to 4K, right? And this is where Monson now is even, and then she's going to go past and start a long drive for home. So at 4K, Arkansas is going to have 60, Stanford 108, Wisconsin 217, NC State 227, and NAU 229, the number 5 team. And this will be the last, Kaladi's last little moments at the lead before Alicia Monson really
And you can see how windy it is looking at that flag.
There we go. There's the flag.
Keep it rolling so you can just see that wind going around the flag.
Yeah. School buses coming through too. a lot going on out there in Verona.
Yeah.
Here we go. So there's Monson at the front now. Yeah, you really get a sense of how quickly they're moving with how fast this camera's going. Yeah, Monson said afterwards, she did a 13-mile run, less than 48 hours before. So this race was on a Friday, so on a Wednesday she had run 13 miles. She definitely wasn't peaking for this race. That's trouble for the rest of the NCAA. Would you call it the favorite now?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think there's co-favorites. I don't think it's a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a co-favorite.
How many women?
I think if there's a betting line, I think Warner, Monson, Kaladi, and Burke, are all good bets.
Yeah. So you'd be that's your group? Like you'd be
I'll be surprised if one of those four doesn't win. And I'll be most surprised if one of these two doesn't win.
Really? Yeah. So now it's Monson in command again, more confident this year. She said in years past she'd have waited till the last 400 to go. I'm just impressed by how quickly she got her confidence back. Didn't have an outdoor season really.
Yeah.
I mean, she ran a little bit, but was on and off, and then eventually was done. Didn't compete in the NCAA championships, but she in her first race goes to Joe Piani, second to Kaladi, and then okay, now I got my legs under me. Now it's time to win. And because if you can beat Wayne Kaladi this way. I mean, Wayne Kaladi ran the pre-classic.
Yeah.
Like she's the 10K NCAA champion.
She's really good at running.
She's good. What I'm saying is she might have a
pretty
future
good.
in running. Yeah. So yeah, Frieza here. Just look at this gap. I mean, this gap is just growing. So at 4K, like I said, they were even, and that was at 13:22. So in the last 2 minutes, that gap's just increased there.
And you got to think, when in the race does Kaladi give up and realize, I'm not going to put the energy to try to close this anymore?
Yeah. See, I don't think she did until the line. I just think Monson was that good because she's fighting it here. Part of her maybe thinks, oh, maybe Monson got a little excited.
Yeah,
I want to stay in this, stay in this,
too
stay in this.
early.
Yeah. Also, you have no idea what's going on behind you, but it has to be demoralizing. Like you throw your punch, and then your opponent at 4K is already able to counter. So there's still 2 whole kilometers to go, and she's already countered that move, right? That's why I think Kaladi's best, and this is not an original thought or original idea. I think it's from the gun, right? At nationals, regardless of the weather, like her best chance of winning is from the gun because
turn into a 6K race, not a 2K.
Yeah, and Monson looks around there, not a sign of weakness though, just a sign of curiosity more than anything. But Warner can close pretty well too. She doesn't quite have enough to catch Kaladi here. But she can, if they make it slow, she can hang around.
But look at this gap. It went from.
Right. Yeah.
Look at this. This is like a good. What do you think? It's 30 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
We'll keep it going.
Yeah. I think Burke can close pretty well too. So there's a lot of women. I think if it goes like men's race style slow, like the men have had in the past couple of years.
Question is, at the 16:45 second mark at NCAAs. Will it be this separate from 1 to 2nd, or do you think we'll still be in a group of 4 at this moment in the race?
I think it would be this separated. I don't know who would be in front and who would be behind, but I think by then, I just don't think they're going to mess around with the different styles of the women. I think someone's going to get after it and make a move. So I think
it's such a contrast because in the men's race, we would still see,
yeah,
Kerr got in this slight lead, but still a pack of 10
right
up here. But now, you individually can see everyone every 10 seconds.
Well, she's still pounding away. I mean, look at her. Like, she's going for it. She has not relented.
Let's pause right there. This guy, go back a little bit. Bird watching. Got some bird watching going down. Trying to eye where the 5th runner is, I guess. Or I'm not sure what he's looking for, but he's on the look. He's got 2 pairs of binoculars. Go back. One more time. He's got here. He got a pair here.
And
he's got a pair here. So
hands.
He got double pairs.
I wonder when he decides. One for the men's race, one for the women's.
I think that was the guy who was running really fast in the previous.
Oh, in the men's race.
He
had the double binoculars. Not the guy who was trying to figure out which way the course was. Got to check out the men's race for that one. But yeah, look at the gap between the two. Monson, you mentioned it before, looks under control, looks smooth.
Yeah, her body language after crossing the finish line was the body language of the first rep of a 5x1K workout.
It was not the body language of how she won last year.
Yeah.
Right. Last year she looked a lot more gassed, and she still hung on, had a great season, right? I mean, they just jogged pre-nats, but then she went and won Big Tens, and then at NCAAs ran really well as well too. So, yeah, that gap now I think is staying steady, maybe growing a little bit, but interested that, see, you know Carlotti's not relenting because she's got a bunch of good runners behind her, and she's still holding them off. So she's just still going really well. It's just not enough on this day for Monson as they make this big turn here. Meanwhile, on the team race, as this is happening, Arkansas is continuing to dominate in front. So there's O'Keefe, and this is the key for Arkansas. I think the fact that you have Katie Izzo, someone who was 82nd last year in the NCAA.
Let's go back. Scroll back. This is Portland's Willie Kincaid's RV. Willie Kincaid, fresh off his...
Woody Kincaid.
Woody. Wasn't it Willie? Woody?
Well, maybe the formal name.
William is his name, yeah.
Okay,
Woody.
yeah.
Woody's, this is where he holds his 1259 trophy.
Well...
1258 trophy.
Yeah, like, so Engels has an RV and Woody's got a bus?
Yeah, that's how it works.
I like it. So there's no drama in this race.
No drama.
At this point. And this is where last year she was just pulling away from Carlotti off this last turn, but this year not as much. Again, though, Carlotti does well to hold on to second, and then there's O'Keefe, the top four. But that's a big gap. That does not really convey how much space is between those two. Again, it's going to be 9 seconds at the finish, but, I mean, Monson's taking a foot off the gas here, right? I mean, she looked around.
Yeah. She's jogging. And you can see already the top four of Arkansas in your picture.
Yeah.
But you do see the top three of Stanford in your picture as well. So Stanford's got a good top three.
Yeah.
The question is, does Stanford have a 4-5? Their 4 for Stanford finishes in 30th, whereas Arkansas's 4 finishes in 9th.
Yeah. So look at Monson looking around, looks right, looks left. She has time to plan the gesture.
Yep. And she just looks chill.
Throws up the W.
Just walking. Oh, look back. Cool.
If you can look back and someone still has that much left, you ran.
You'll see
good job.
me right here. Oh, wait. There's
wearing the sunglasses.
Yours truly.
Gordon
Gotta love that.
Dropping
Keep it
sunglasses.
rolling.
So Carlotti second, Werner third, O'Keefe fourth, and this is Katie Izzo. And then you got a nice little Stanford, Arkansas back and forth. That's Ella Donahue for Stanford, then Devin Clark.
So Taylor Warner was drained after that race. As you can see, she's on.
Let's go back
over.
Go back a second here. I want to see Villon cross. I want to see if we can see the shoe. Keep going back. Going back. We're looking at Villon right here. See if we go forward. See if we can see the shoe. It's tough. It's tough. We need the shoe cam there.
We'll keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you caught a glimpse. It's just tough with the socks. But she said afterwards, she's from South Africa. They did a lot of barefoot running growing up.
So she's good.
She was ready, yeah. But yeah, you're right. Warner was pretty tired there at the end. And then that's Jessica Lawson from Stanford that was there 3. But again, the difference was the gap from 3 to 4 for Stanford was too much. And then you're going to see Arkansas's number 5 come in a second here with Lauren Gregory, who's just behind, right there, coming across to seal the win. So 62 to 98. So an impressive win for Arkansas, an impressive win for Alicia Monson. So we have 2 NCAA favorites here locked in at Nuttycombe.
The Razorbacks and Monson.
Yeah, the Razorbacks and Monson. See the rest of the top 10 there. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a men's breakdown that you can check out. We're also going to get the pre-nats telestrations as well. And if you want to watch the full race with their original commentary, check out the coverage page. We got that as well. We'll talk to you guys soon.